Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive
Yeah,
into some really cool stuff.
it's going to be great.
Today, we are going to be talking about digital learning tools.
Right.
All of those apps and platforms that pretty much every student has to use now.
Yeah, it's really interesting to think about, how much that's changed,
Yeah.
especially since the pandemic.
Especially since the pandemic.
Yeah, it went from, maybe a sprinkle of it here and there in the classroom
Right.
to like the main course.
The main course overnight, yeah.
Like whether you like it or not.
Exactly. And so there's been a lot of debate
Yeah.
about whether this is actually good for learning.
Exactly right. Is it just hype? Are we,
Are we just distracted by shiny things?
Right.
Or is there actually some real value here?
Totally.
And so that's why this study's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Because they actually went straight to students and asked them,
Like, what do you think?
yeah, what do you think? And not just any students.
Right.
They talked to students in 3 different countries:
3 different countries.
Canada,
Ooh.
Germany,
Wow.
and India.
That's a pretty wide range of perspectives.
So that's a pretty wide range of perspectives, right?
Really interesting.
So we're really getting a global view.
Yeah.
So what jumped out at you from the findings?
Well, the first thing that really surprised me
Okay.
was that students actually seem to really like using these tools.
Really?
Yeah, I
I remember
mean,
we thought.
way more than I would have thought.
Yeah.
Like, across the board, 75% of students
Wow.
said that they felt more engaged
That they liked it.
when they were using digital learning tools.
Wow. So it's not just that they're tolerating it,
No, they're actually enjoying it.
they're actually finding it helpful and engaging.
Exactly.
That's wild.
It really is. And what's really interesting is that this wasn't just
Right.
for online classes.
Over.
This was true for both
Oh, interesting.
face-to-face and online learning environments.
So it's not just the novelty
Uh-huh.
of being online.
Yeah, it seems like there's something about these tools themselves.
Okay, so then they dug into what kinds of digital learning tools
Exactly.
students actually like.
Yeah, because there's a big range, right?
Yeah.
So what are the favorites?
Yeah, what are the faves?
Well, interactor elements were a big hit,
Okay.
like quiz platforms.
Oh, like Cahoots?
Yeah, exactly. Kahoot, things that bring in a little friendly competition.
A little competition, yeah.
And then collaborative annotation tools like Perusal.
Oh, yeah, where you can all kind of comment on the same document.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're engaging with the text and with each other.
And with each other, right?
Yeah, in a whole new way.
That's cool. So it's really turning learning from like
That passive.
thing into something dynamic.
Right, you're not just sitting there listening to a lecture.
Right.
You're actually doing stuff.
You're actually part of it.
Yeah.
That's really neat. Were there any other
Oh, yeah. There were lots.
types of DLTs that they highlighted?
So slide decks are still popular,
Yep.
especially when they're interactive.
Right.
You got to jazz them up a little bit.
You got to keep them moving.
And video, of course.
Oh, yeah, video's huge.
Video's huge, especially well-produced, engaging videos. And then the study even talked about gamification.
Gamification. Oh, yeah, tell me about that.
So that's where you bring in like game elements,
Okay.
like points, badges, leaderboards into learning activities.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a way to kind of tap into students' motivation.
Right, like those dopamine hits.
Exactly. Make it more fun,
Yeah, make it more fun.
more rewarding.
Yeah, so are all of these enthusiastic students
Right.
getting better grades?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
So the study found that just using more DLTs
Okay.
didn't actually correlate with higher grades.
So more isn't always better.
More isn't always better.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's counterintuitive, right?
Yeah, because you think, oh, they're enjoying it.
Right.
They're engaged. They must be learning more.
It should follow.
Yeah, that it's not that simple.
Not that simple.
So what's going on?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting because
Uh,
it suggests that maybe DLTs are impacting other aspects of learning
Okay.
that aren't necessarily reflected in grades.
Like what?
Think about things like motivation,
Okay.
engagement, overall satisfaction with the course.
So even if they're not acing every exam,
Right?
they might be getting something else out of it.
Exactly.
That's really important.
And here's the thing.
Okay.
Student satisfaction isn't just some fluffy, feel-good metric.
Okay.
It's actually a key factor in university rankings.
Oh, wow.
And it's a major indicator of overall educational quality.
So DLTs could actually be
Yeah.
helping universities boost their reputation
Yeah, absolutely.
and attract more students.
Attract students, create a more positive learning environment.
Yeah, that's huge.
It's a win-win.
Right.
But here's the caveat.
Okay.
The study emphasizes that it's not just about throwing technology at the problem.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Exactly.
Got it.
Educators need to be thoughtful about which DLTs they choose
Right.
and how they incorporate them
How they use them.
into their teaching.
So what does that actually look like?
Well, that's what we'll get into next.
Okay.
The study highlights some key best practices
Okay.
for using DLTs in a way that genuinely enhances the learning experience.
Awesome. Let's dive into that.
One of the biggest things they talked about was transparency.
Transparency. Okay.
Like, educators need to be upfront with students
Okay.
about why they're using a particular DLT
Mhm.
and how it connects to what they're trying to learn.
Right. So it's not just like, oh, we're using this cool tool.
Right. It's not about the tool itself.
It's about the why.
Exactly. It's about the pedagogy.
Yeah. Give them the behind-the-scenes look at like why we're doing this.
Yeah, because when students understand the purpose,
Yeah.
they're more likely to buy in.
To actually use it.
Use it, yeah.
Engage with it.
And the study also talked about how important it is to give clear instructions and support for using these tools.
Oh, yeah. Because not every student is like a tech whiz.
Right, exactly. Some students might need more help than others.
Yeah. And you don't want to leave anyone behind.
Exactly. You want to create an inclusive learning environment
Right.
where everyone feels supported.
And they can actually use the tools.
Exactly, regardless of their background.
Yeah. Their tech skills.
Yeah, so clear explanations.
Yeah.
Ample support.
Check.
And a focus on inclusivity.
Check. Got it.
Those are some of the big ones.
Any other big takeaways?
Yeah, this one's really important.
Okay.
The study really emphasizes that DLTs should complement teaching,
Okay.
not replace it.
So it's not about like automating everything.
Right. It's not about turning teachers into robots.
Got it.
It's about finding that sweet spot
Okay.
where technology enhances the human element.
Right. It's a tool
It's a tool.
to help teachers do what they do best.
Exactly.
Even better.
Yeah, and the study gives some examples
Okay. Cool.
of how this can work in practice. Like,
Yeah.
DLTs can help personalize learning experiences
Oh, yeah.
by tailoring content to different students' needs.
That's powerful.
Yeah, and they can also foster collaboration
Oh, yeah.
by connecting students in new ways.
Oh, this reminds me of something else they talked about.
What's that?
Student feedback.
Oh, yeah, that's crucial.
Like teachers need to actually listen to students.
Yeah, ask them what's working
Yeah. What's not working?
and be willing to adapt.
To change things up.
Exactly. It's not a one-and-done deal.
Yeah. It's an ongoing process.
Right, it's a conversation
Right.
between teachers and students.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so we've been talking about how DLTs are impacting education now.
Right. The present.
But what about the future?
Ooh. Yeah. What about the future?
Like, how will these trends shape what education looks like?
10 years from now? 20 years from now?
Who knows? But it's exciting to think about. Well, one possibility is that we'll see even more blended learning,
Okay.
where you seamlessly integrate online and face-to-face.
So it's not like, oh, you're either online or you're in person.
Right. It's more fluid.
It's all mixed together.
Yeah, exactly. And as technology keeps evolving,
Yeah.
we might even see totally new approaches to teaching.
Like what?
Think about immersive virtual reality,
Whoa.
like transporting students to different times and places.
That's like straight out of sci-fi.
Right, or interactive simulations
Uh-huh.
where students can experiment with complex stuff,
Yeah.
but safely.
In a safe environment.
Exactly.
That's really wild.
The possibilities are endless.
But it's important to remember
Yeah.
that DLTs are just tools.
Right.
They're not the magic bullet.
They're not a substitute for good teaching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The real magic happens when you combine those tools
Yeah.
with the creativity and passion of teachers.
Absolutely. Teachers are the ones who bring it all together.
Right. They're the mentors, the guides.
They inspire.
Yeah. And that's something that no algorithm can replace.
Couldn't agree more.
So as we navigate this increasingly digital world,
Right.
it's more important than ever
Yeah.
to focus on those human skills.
Those uniquely human skills.
Like what?
Things like critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, empathy.
Yeah, those are the things that are going to matter
Those are the things that will make students successful
in the future.
in the future.
And it's teachers who play a key role in developing those skills.
Absolutely. They're the ones on the front lines.
It sounds like the role of the teacher is evolving.
Evolving, not disappearing.
Yeah.
And maybe DLTs can actually help teachers focus on those human aspects.
Oh, interesting.
Like, if technology can take care of some of the more mundane tasks,
Yeah.
then teachers have more time and energy
To connect with students.
to mentor them.
To really guide them.
Exactly.
But this has been so insightful.
Yeah, it's been a great conversation.
We've covered so much.
From how students feel about DLTs
To how to use them effectively.
and what the future might hold.
But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier,
Oh, yeah.
personalization,
Ah, yes, that's a big one.
because it's easy to talk about DLTs in general.
Right.
But at the end of the day, learning is personal.
It's an individual journey.
What really resonated with me was this idea that DLTs
Yeah.
can actually help teachers cater to each student's needs.
That's the power of these tools.
Yeah, it's like moving away from that one-size-fits-all model.
Exactly.
And I think that's where student feedback comes in.
Yeah.
Like, teachers need to have that dialogue with students
To figure out what's working for them
to see which tools are resonating.
and which ones aren't.
Yeah, because what works for one student,
Might not work for another.
it's all about collaboration and continuous improvement.
Absolutely.
Well, on that note,
Yeah.
I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive.
Sounds good.
We've explored the world of digital learning tools,
Yeah, it's a fascinating landscape.
and it's clear that they have the potential to really transform education.
Absolutely.
But as we've discussed,
Yeah.
it's not about just adopting technology for technology's sake.
Right.
It's about using it thoughtfully and intentionally
To create a better learning experience for everyone.
to make learning more engaging, more equitable,
Well, human.
more human. Exactly.
Well, that's the key.
It's been a pleasure diving into this topic with you.
Likewise.
And to our listeners,
Yeah.
we want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay, shoot.
We've talked a lot about the big picture of DLTs,
Yeah.
but we also want to acknowledge that each of you
Yeah.
has your own unique relationship with technology
Right.
and your own individual learning style.
Absolutely. Everyone learns differently.
So as we wrap up, we want you to think about your own experiences.
Yeah.
What DLTs have you found helpful?
Yeah, what's worked for you?
What have you struggled with?
Right.
And how do you see tech shaping your own learning in the future?
Yeah, that's a big question.
It is a big question.
But it's an important one.
It is. And there's no right or wrong answer.
Exactly. It's all about finding what works best for you.
Right. Because what works for one person,
Might not work for another.
totally. And that's where self-awareness comes in.
Absolutely.
Like knowing your own learning style.
Yeah. What are your strengths and weaknesses as a learner?
What tools help you?
And being open to trying new things.
Right. Stepping outside your comfort zone.
The more you know yourself,
Yeah.
the better you can navigate this whole DLT landscape.
And it's not just about the tools themselves.
Right.
It's how you use them.
It's about the intention,
It's about remembering that technology is a tool,
not the solution.
not the solution. It's a means to an end.
And the end goal
Yeah.
is to create a better learning experience.
More engaging,
More equitable.
more human.
More human.
That's what we're all striving for.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's been great diving into this with you.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating conversation.
You, our listeners, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
We hope you learned something.
And we hope you'll keep exploring these ideas.
Keep learning, keep exploring.
And keep those synapses firing.
Until next time.